Well, summer in Texas and it's fucking hot. Signing with Good Fight, it seems pretty awesome so far. Rick, who basically manages the label, is really involved. It's really good to have someone that's putting out your record that actually has read your lyrics and cares about what you're talking about and even can identify with it. So it's good to be on the team among a bunch of other bands that we love, like Axis and Hollow Earth and Feather and Bone and Down in It, and list goes on. So and it's just gonna get better from things I know. So we're gonna do this record with them and see how it goes. Yeah, it's taken forever to get this record out. We spent probably a couple years writing it and looking for a label this last fall, and we were lucky to hook it up with Good Fight. And then vinyl takes a while, but as far as writing, I'd say by the time Chosen Path was out a couple years ago, we already had maybe a couple of these songs in the works, at least on my end, writing guitar riffs and coming up with some conceptual ideas for lyrics. But it was a long process. Mike, our drummer, he took over for Wendell, who used to live in Mexico City, who drummed on Chosen Path, and then Wendell moved to Tampa Bay area, and then he and his wife moved up to DC. And by that time, it was too hard for Wendell to be in the band. So Mike took over for Wendell. I have a lot of history writing songs with Mike in our other band, Will to Live. And but Mike lives also 3 hours away from Houston. So I'd come up with songs. I'd drive out to New Braunfels or San Marcos, near where Mike has where he lives and where he has a practice space. And we'd do a lot of late night jam sessions, or he'd come to Houston whenever he wasn't working. And we do a late night jam sessions here in Houston also. It just took a long time, a lot of sharing files online with our other guitarist and our bass player, and just trying to get a lot of input from everybody. We tried to really take our time with this one and get all the details right, since we're not a full-time touring band anymore. We just do this for fun now. This week, probably before this interview is out, we're going to announce a West Coast tour, just about 8 shows with our friends in the vegan metallic hardcore band Wake of Humanity from Seattle. So it's going to be really good to finally get back out to the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest, as we haven't been there in a long time. And we're even going to play Vancouver, British Columbia, where we were last deported in 2008. So, aside from hitting Texas and Oklahoma and Tennessee and doing Sound on Sound Fest in Austin this November, we're doing that West Coast tour. And Europe just keeps getting postponed. It's expensive to invest in doing a European tour. You guys, if you're interested in bringing this to Europe, hit up Tim at madtourBooking.de. Tim's our man over there. So we like to make it happen, but we just need to know that people want to see us. Lyrically, this is the most pessimistic Die Young record yet. A lot of inspiration comes from observing people, from trying to keep up with the news, from living in an area where I live here in Houston, where you see a lot of animal cruelty, a lot of stray animals, and you just wonder, what is the point of life if your whole lot in life is to suffer? And that can relate not only to animals, but people in different parts of the world that are less privileged than us here in the United States, or Western Europe, or even Eastern Europe. There's just a lot of awful stuff happening that to try and contemplate and empathize is really, I think, ultimately what irked me to write this really disillusioned, pessimistic record. Empathy is a big thing. It's a big concept. To take on suffering other than your own. I don't know. Sometimes I think it can feel stronger than just your own suffering, especially when you try to consider people and animals that have it so much worse off than you do yourself. And a lot of that is what informed this record, No Illusions. And I also want to add that the political climate in the United States is always a factor. The evangelical, often uneducated, religious portion of American voters is big and is powerful, and we're seeing, especially in this election, that it's a formidable force that people need to stand up against and vote against. And more than anything, this band has always been a way to just express sadness and anger and discontent and all those really negative feelings that we've got to let out. Sometimes people ask me why I can't write more uplifting, positive, optimistic music. Sorry, that's not the kind of thing that really provokes me on a daily basis. Well, if anybody's seen Die Young in the past couple of years, I talk a lot about how important it is to get a vasectomy because my basic belief is that the more people we bring into this world, the more problems we're going to have, the more intense the problems are going to be. It seems like no political or economic system is capable of fixing all the human suffering in all these different parts of the world. I would be a fool to try and offer solutions to all these problems, but quite simply for me, I don't want to subject another human being to the pain of consciousness in a world filled with so much suffering. So, gentlemen, please get a vasectomy. Yeah, it's been real ugly this election year. I would say that older people I talk to about the primaries and the rise of Donald Trump say they've never seen anything like it in their lifetimes. I've certainly never seen anything like it in my lifetime. I mean, I started to become somewhat politically conscious in 2000 when I was just 18 and people were saying George W. Bush stole the election. But this is an entirely different beast, and yeah, there's been some tension even in my own family. There's been a lot of times where I just need to turn off the social media because it just provokes me too much. People have a lot of uninformed opinions. People have a lot of passionate, emotional opinions, and I don't fucking know, man. It sucks. That's a tough question because I think that older people, being that they're the ones who own property and really see the taxes coming out of their pockets, be it their business taxes or their income tax or their property tax. They're the people that are usually the most motivated to vote. And young people who don't own property yet don't understand the importance of their role. Young people are the ones that always want change. Young people are almost always the ones that want to stick up for less fortunate people in the environment. It's so rare that you find older people that are really willing to push the envelope for those kinds of causes. older people that lean more Democratic are more middle of the road usually. They usually are more invested in the establishment as it is. So, you always see people posting that George Carlin video about how he doesn't vote because it's stupid and he doesn't want to bear any responsibility for the things that people choose. And, I get it, but on a level, enough of us younger people have got to stick up for what we believe in. And when that happens, the tide will really turn. So I think voting's important. And voting's especially important in Texas because we've got seriously insane people running our state government here. Greg Abbott, the governor, Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor, who thinks that God is trying to speak to Americans through Duck Dynasty about gay people. We've got Ken Paxton, the attorney general, who is, just look him up. He's in corruption scandal after corruption scandal. And all these guys are pushing a specific right-wing Bible verse informed platform. It's not, other than it being a states' rights issue to be able to push whatever kind of platform you want, it's not federally constitutional in a lot of ways, especially in the ways they try to deny access to women who need health care and abortions. Well, primarily it's changed just in the way it's become a media circus. More and more people don't read the background about the candidates, they don't try to do their own history lessons. They just watch what's on TV, and that's why they think they only get two choices. And this year more than ever, it's really a reality TV freak show. And like I said earlier, you talk to older people in this country, and they just say they've never seen anything like it. I personally think that Hillary Clinton's going to win, however she does that. And what we're going to get is more of the same, which on some levels, in terms of the kind of dialogue we see in the media, it will be a more sane dialogue regarding social issues like women's rights and gay rights and things like that. And we'll probably get her to a point, some more sane, less religiously focused Supreme Court judges, which is good on a level. But as far as foreign intervention, foreign policy, and economics, we can expect more of exactly what Barack Obama did, which, my least favorite parts of his presidency are just bombing the fuck out of the Middle East and creating proxy wars and regime change in countries, in the Arab Spring that destabilized Northern Africa and the Middle East more so than it was before. And now we have ISIS and everybody's freaking out about that all over the world. I do blame our current administration for that. They made it even worse than even the Bush administration did before them. So I think we're just going to get more of the same. I don't know, in some ways it'll be a relief, but shit, look at the fucking DNC corruption that basically didn't give Bernie Sanders a fighting chance. To me, it's just evidence of the way things are rigged and the way we've always known things are rigged. And whoever has all the money, they always find a way to get who they want into power. Yeah, with Chosen Path, I was focusing a lot on inner growth at a time in my life where I needed to get a lot of aspects of my own finances and living situation and relationship. I need to get all those in order to try and stabilize myself so I can be better for those that need me. And when I say those that need me, I'm referring to not just the people in my life that I know and love, but also those out there that are suffering, the less fortunate. And on a global scale, there's no greater amount of suffering than the suffering of animals. Doesn't mean I don't believe in helping people, or you can help people. I'm often disillusioned with people, but there's a lot of people who are in circumstances they never deserved. And likewise, if you can truly empathize with what animals go through and what the industry that slaughters animals and plunders the environment does to the people who work in it, there's no better way to help people and animals and the environment than to go vegan. And that's not something we explicitly talk about in Die Young, but for me, one of the ways I really try to imagine suffering of others and empathize with the situations of others is a lot of that came to me from being vegan, becoming vegan. So a lot of that informs the way I talk about suffering and the vastness of suffering in the world right now. And it's a heavy thing, and that's why we're still writing albums about it, and that will probably never change for Die Young. That mission is never fulfilled. Like I said, there's more people and more suffering coming into this world, and the problems just become deeper and greater and more powerful and harder to deal with and harder to know solutions for. And so that's why we're still writing music like this. That's why I'm still thinking about these things and trying to put some dialogue out there to get other people involved in the discussion about what can be done. And ever since we came back in 2013, I realized that the hardcore scene is less open to unconventional topics than it was before, and I think it gets worse. It's just a very mainstream attitude that this music is just here to dance to. So it gets difficult to find the mode of communication to try and rally this scene into some kind of movement again. I know it's difficult and a lot of it's very unsatisfying, but sometimes that helps to make for some more good angry songs. Yeah, it's great to just have a good vegan meal and forget about this stuff for a while. My personal favorite place at the moment to just pig out is Arlo's food truck in Austin, Texas. They've got vegan bacon cheeseburgers, chicken street tacos, like Chipotle chicken street tacos, vegan mac and cheese, which you can also put on a burger, and sweet potato fries and all that. I love that kind of vegan junk food, and it's awesome. So every time I'm in Austin, whether we play there, I'm just passing through for something, I go and eat at Arlo's. So check that place out. As always, about veganism, I can just say is the best decision I ever made. I've gotten into competitive powerlifting over the years, and I continue to get stronger as a vegan. And unless I told people at these competitions I was vegan, they wouldn't know, because my numbers hold their own against all those omnivores out there. So all I can say is it's not something that holds you back. I enjoy what I eat. It makes me feel good, both physically and emotionally, because I'm satisfied that I'm not contributing to unnecessary suffering through my food choices. So if you're thinking about it, just do it. Just go vegan. I've got a page called Vegan Meathead on Facebook where I give a lot of tips about strength building and dieting for strength as a vegan. So please check that out. Thank you, IDIOTEQ.